It's 10:47 at night. You open Netflix because you want to relax. 20 minutes later, you're still scrolling. You've watched 6 trailers, checked reviews twice, opened another app to see what strangers recommend, and somehow choosing entertainment has become more exhausting than watching it. So you close Netflix and open YouTube. Then somehow you're scrolling again. If that sounds familiar, here's the strange part. The problem may not be that you're bad at making decisions. You may simply be living in the first era of human history where thousands of options can follow you everywhere, inside one small screen. And the solution isn't learning how to choose everything faster. It's learning what no longer deserves a choice. By the end, you'll have 3 simple rules to do exactly that. If this kind of thinking helps, subscribe. There's more of it every week. Think about an ordinary morning. Before you've even left bed, your phone is asking questions. Open this notification, reply now or later, email or WhatsApp, read this headline, watch this reel. Then comes breakfast. Which shirt? Which route? Which coffee? None seems difficult, but each leaves behind a tiny question. Should I choose this or something better? And digital life has radically expanded that question. A physical bookstore has shelves. The internet has no final shelf. A restaurant menu ends. A delivery app keeps scrolling. We call this abundance freedom. But freedom becomes psychologically expensive when everything demands evaluation. Psychologists Sheena Iyengar and Mark Lepper demonstrated this in a famous supermarket experiment. Shoppers saw either 24 varieties of jam or just 6. The larger display attracted more attention, but shoppers seeing 6 options were far more likely to buy. More possibility produced less action, but more choice isn't automatically bad. Researchers Alexander Chernev and colleagues later found that choice overload depends heavily on context. It becomes more likely when choices are complex, you're unsure what you want, or comparison requires too much effort. Now think about your phone. You compare headphones across reviews, prices, and 5 browser tabs. You order dinner from 147 restaurants without knowing what you want. You choose a hotel while checking ratings, videos, and whether another website has it $15 cheaper. There is always one more option, so the decision never feels finished. And neuroscience suggests something even stranger. In a brain imaging study led by Elena Rodskaya, people chose from sets of 6, 12, or 24 options. The brain's response suggested a sweet spot. Too little choice wasn't ideal, but neither was too much. Perhaps your brain doesn't want infinite freedom. It wants manageable freedom, because every additional option creates another comparison, another possible mistake, another future you have to reject. You order the pasta, then notice the pizza at the next table. You buy the phone, then see 10 phones you should have bought instead. Suddenly you stop asking, is this good? And start asking, is this the absolute best? But good has an endpoint. Best often doesn't. Humans were wrestling with this long before algorithms existed. The Stoics practiced the dichotomy of control. Epictetus argued that some things depend upon us, and others don't. You can choose carefully, but you cannot investigate every alternative or guarantee the perfect outcome. Yet modern life whispers, one more review, one more comparison, one more tab. As if enough information could remove uncertainty. The Stoic response is simpler. Choose what you can control, then release what you can't. Because freedom isn't simply having access to everything. Freedom also requires deciding what gets access to you. Ancient Indian philosophy offers another idea. Viveka, discernment, the ability to distinguish what matters from what merely appears before your attention. Your phone vibrates during dinner. Nothing forces you to check it. But something appeared, so suddenly it feels important. Digital life constantly confuses availability with importance. A notification exists, so you check it. Another recommendation appears, so you consider it. But availability is not importance. Even when you filter well, craving remains. Tanhā. The mind imagines satisfaction inside the next possibility, the next video, the next product, the next swipe, the next option. You finally choose a movie, then wonder whether the other one was better. You got what you wanted while experiencing everything you rejected as a possible loss. That's why tiny decisions can feel strangely exhausting. You stare at a menu while everyone else orders. Compare two products for 20 minutes. Type a message. Delete it. Rewrite it. Scroll through movies until you don't want to watch anything. Then someone asks, "What do you want for dinner?" And you say, "I don't care. You decide." Sometimes that isn't indecision. It's the sound of a mind asking for fewer branches. If that's you, hit like. So how do you get your mental space back? 3 rules. First, reduce before you compare. Before opening the app, decide what matters. Headphones? Choose 3 non-negotiables. Dinner, cuisine, distance, budget, hotel, location, price, quiet. Then shortlist 3 options, not 23, 3. You don't need fewer possibilities in the world. You need fewer possibilities inside your head. Second, default the unimportant. Stop making fresh decisions about things that don't deserve fresh thinking. A regular breakfast, a standard workout, a fixed time for email, a few trusted information sources. Defaults aren't boring. They're decisions you only need to make once. Save your attention for choices where your judgment matters. Third, choose, then close the door. Nobel Prize-winning researcher Herbert Simon called it satisficing, choosing something that meets your requirements instead of endlessly searching for the theoretical best. For low-stakes decisions, good enough is often enough. Choose the movie, buy the headphones, order the meal, then notice the urge to compare again and say, chosen. Close the tabs. Stop reading reviews, because the internet's job is to keep another possibility available. Your job is knowing when possibility has stopped being useful. And I'm curious, what tiny decision steals the most time from you? What to watch? What to eat? What to buy? Or does more choice feel like freedom to you? Tell me in the comments. Because this is where Stoic control, Indian discernment, and Buddhist non-attachment quietly meet. A decision becomes peaceful when you stop demanding certainty from it. You don't need the perfect movie, the perfect headphones, the perfect meal, the perfect reply. You need something aligned closely enough with what matters and permission to move forward. Maybe the problem isn't that we have too much freedom. It's that we've confused unlimited access with meaningful freedom. Because sometimes freedom isn't keeping every door open. Sometimes freedom is choosing one, closing the others and walking through it. A life with fewer unnecessary choices isn't a life with less freedom. It's a life with more attention left for what freedom is actually for. And in a world designed to keep offering you more, sometimes the most powerful choice is simply deciding, enough. If you want to understand what the digital world is doing to your mind, without rejecting technology or losing yourself inside it, subscribe to Digital Mind Mentor. The digital world will keep getting louder, but your inner world doesn't have to.